Senator Coburn is going to be asking Ilana Kagan about freedom. Do we have more or less freedom than 30 years ago? I thought it was a bizarre point. Apparently so did Ilana Kagan. But then Senator Klobuchar from Minnesota comes in and addresses that point in, I think, a devastating way. We're going to show you both of those. Let's go to clip number 7.
Have you ever contemplated the idea of what your freedom was like 30 years ago and what it is today?
How old was I 30 years ago?
You were 20.
I'm not sure I have ever contemplated that exact.
Well, I want to tell you a lot of Americans have, and I certainly have. And there's a marked change in this country from when I was 20 to now that I'm 62. And one of the problems with confidence, and the reason I asked you the question, is a lot of Americans are losing confidence because they're losing freedom. They're losing liberty.
I was really interested and listened to Senator Coburn. I wasn't going to focus on this as much, but he was talking about the concept of freedom, which is integral to our country and to our Constitution. And he was actually asking you just now, back 30 years ago, if you thought that we were more free. And I think it's a very hard question to answer and not one that necessarily is one that you would expect in this hearing. But I was thinking back 30 years ago was 1980. And then I was thinking about, were we really more free if you were a woman in 1980? Do you know, Solicitor General, how many women were on the U.S. Supreme Court in 1980?
Well, I guess 0.
That would be correct. There were no women on the Supreme Court. Do you know how many women were sitting up here 30 years ago in 1980?
No, it was very striking when Senator Feinstein said that she was one of 2 women, and I thought, how amazing. So how many?
There were no women on the Judiciary Committee. In fact, no women were on the Judiciary Committee until after the Anita Hill hearings in 1991. Do you know how many women were in the United States Senate in 1980, 30 years ago?
I'm stumped again.
No women were in the United States Senate. There had been women in the Senate before, and then in 1981, Senator Castlebaum joined the Senate. So as I think about that question about if people were more free in 1980, I think it's all in the eyes of the beholder.
That's a great point by Klobuchar. You know, the Republicans always want to go back and say, oh, the good old years of America. Oh, when it was in the 1950s and 60s. Yeah, when, for example, minorities didn't have rights, right? And there were no women in the Senate, no women on the Supreme Court, et cetera, et cetera. The other day, we had Jeff Sessions saying, oh, the progressive movement of the 1920s. Is that the kind of progressive you are? By the way, you know what happened in the 1920s progressive movement? Women got the right to vote. Yeah, that's the kind of progressive I am. And those progressives were gung-ho against corruption, political corruption, corporate interests taking over politics, and they wanted to modernize the country. Am I that kind of progressive? Hell yes, I'm that kind of progressive. Okay, so, and who were they fighting against? They were fighting against the people who didn't want women to have the right to vote. They didn't want blacks to have any rights whatsoever, and they wanted the banks to control everything. And the reason the progressives actually were successful back then is because we kept having financial crisis after financial crisis because of the big banks. Sound familiar? Right? So they always want to go back in time. But when you go back in time, it wasn't so great for all of us. Maybe it was great for Senator Coburn. He's like, oh, we were so much freer back then when we didn't have to deal with all these women and minorities clogging up the system like this. Other than that, I don't even know what he means by we were freer 30 years ago. How are we in shackles? I think I'm pretty free. I don't know what he's talking about. You know, and part of it is probably this sense of, you know, oh, when I was a kid and things were better. I just watched my graduation. I found it on Facebook, right? Somebody had a 10-minute video of it, of my high school graduation back in 1988. And it looks idyllic, right? And I remember thinking, oh, what a great world. And I was very lucky to have a great childhood, right? Sitting there in the suburbs. But I didn't know back in 1988 what the situation in the country was outside of our little suburb, you know, and outside of my context at the time. I was a kid. I didn't know what the situation was with women's rights, civil rights, et cetera, and the list goes down the road. Okay, so yeah, if you look back, oh man, if I could just go back to 1988 when everything was great and we were all playing kickball and having a great time, right? and the Coburn and those guys feel that way about 1955 or 1965 or whatever it might be. But it was great in their enclave. It was great in their context. It was great for their subculture. But it wasn't great for everybody. We're a hell of a lot more free these days in so many different ways for so many different Americans. And I love that Klobuchar pointed that out.